The hidden ability of Superman. The tale commenced just a fleeting moment ago when Otho, one of Superman's adopted offspring, assailed a demonstrator from an organization known as Blue Earth. These protesters harbored opposition toward Superman and his kin. In due course, Jon Kent, accompanied by Ossel, the twin brother of Otho, has arrived from the battlefield. Jon Kent reproached himself for inadequately supervising the twins and permitting someone to sustain injuries. He sought to rectify the situation by fervently insisting on rescuing the wounded man. However, Otho cautioned him that he lacked comprehension of the present circumstances, as Jon Kent made preparations to hoist the man and transport him to a nearby medical facility. The man's eyes instantaneously transmuted to a green hue, and he discharged a laser beam at Jon Kent, inflicting injury upon him. Jon apprehended that the man constituted as one of Metallo's drones, the same creatures that had previously assaulted Supergirl. Unexpectedly, the assemblage behind them also unveiled itself as Metallo's drones. Their eyes began to shift to green, signifying their intent to dismantle Superman's entire family as retribution for their creator. Meanwhile, Clark Kent and Lois Lane stood together, and Clark apprehended that the children were imperiled. He instantaneously hastened away from the vicinity. Returning to Jon Kent and the Super Twins, they engaged in combat against the Metallo drones. Jon Kent proposed that if they aspired to stand a chance at vanquishing them, they might necessitate summoning the genuine Metallo, just as Jon Kent, who also bears the mantle of Superman, discerned a presence behind him. The bona fide Metallo materialized and delivered a forceful blow. Exploiting the situation, Metallo apprehended the Super Twins, leaving Jon Kent a message for Superman, asserting that he need not worry, for he would be reunited with the children. However, upon their reunion, they would constitute his family, not Superman's. Metallo abruptly teleported away as Superman arrived. Superman and Jon Kent merged their might and overcame the remaining Metallo drones within their purview. Jon held himself accountable for the well-being of the children and yearned to locate them, but Superman dissented, elucidating that the populace required his presence there. Superman pledged to Jon Kent that he would retrieve the children. Furthermore, he expounded that he did not desire Jon Kent to confront Metallo unaccompanied, as Metallo's necro drones possessed the capacity to decimate the neighborhood without revealing their true numbers. Superman directed his son to gather the entirety of the Superman family to dismantle all of Metallo's drones before further harm befell anyone. Jon Kent exhibited a slight frown, yet consented to his father's entreaty. Superman subsequently employed his superhuman senses to pinpoint Metallo and the twins. He extended his senses, scouring the vicinity, but all he could perceive were the heartbeats of Jon and Lois. He continued to expand his senses until he detected a presence beneath an antiquated LexCorp R&D center across the river. There, he sensed two feeble heartbeats that had withstood the noxious fumes of Warworld, and alongside them was a third heartbeat, conceivably an abomination, or something devoid of a heart, but instead an apparatus. Swiftly, Superman soared toward that location and discovered Metallo clutching the Super Twins by their necks while they remained unconscious. Superman approached Metallo, intrigued by the circumstances that had befallen him. A holographic projection of a woman materialized behind Metallo, whispering cautionary words about Superman's untrustworthiness and penchant for deception. Metallo demanded the release of his sister named Tracy, warning that if his request went unheeded, he would inflict harm upon the innocent children. The hologram encouraged Metallo to eliminate them all, asserting that Superman would not intervene, and they would thereby remain safe. Superman endeavored to reason with Metallo. Acknowledging the presence of a malevolent force manipulating his mind, he proposed that Metallo should set the children free and offered to help him. Metallo cautioned Superman against confusing him, holding him responsible for all that had occurred. He declared that, regardless of Superman's noble facade or the masses who idolized him, he was still equally monstrous as him. As Metallo readied himself and attacked Superman with kryptonite smoke, yet, to his astonishment, it had no effect on the Man of Steel. Employing a mighty blow, Superman struck Metallo through the chest and seized Metallo's newly acquired heart, forged from a rare Warworld mineral known as Genesis. This substance possessed extraordinary properties that rendered Superman immune to the debilitating effects of kryptonite. Utilizing the powers bestowed by the Genesis heart, Superman unlocked a latent ability and materialized a Trillian coat-like armor reminiscent of his own likeness. Although unintentional, Superman felt compelled to demonstrate to Metallo that bullies were not as formidable as they perceived themselves to be. Seizing Metallo, who struggled in vain, Superman ultimately overcame him with his armored fist. Subsequently, Superman launched a relentless barrage of laser vision blasts that incapacitated Metallo's abilities. Towering above Metallo, Superman commanded him to remain subdued. The woman manipulating Metallo's hologram scornfully acknowledged that he had not been an absolute waste. She severed her connection with Metallo, leaving him alone. Metallo implored Superman to deliver a finishing blow, yet Superman retracted his arm. He elucidated that Metallo must be held accountable for his transgressions, but first they must rescue Tracy, Metallo's sister. Superman extended his aid in the endeavor to retrieve her. Metallo admitted that given the opportunity, he would have slain Superman's family, understanding that anyone would act similarly when their loved ones were imperiled. Superman reassured Metallo that they would locate his sister. Furthermore, he emphasized the necessity of deactivating the necro drones in a town to prevent further harm. However, the drones were no longer under Metallo's command. The very entity responsible for capturing his sister had taken control. In a clandestine laboratory, Tracy, Metallo's sister, remained unconscious and unclothed, interconnected to various tubes. Suddenly, a robotic figure emerged from a liquid substance. Revealing himself as Cyborg Superman, he informed Tracy that Metallo had erroneously identified his body as his own. Although it was true that Cyborg Superman's physical form incorporated Warworld technology and his DNA, the flesh had been derived from his own blood. Unveiling a blade, Cyborg Superman prepared to exploit Tracy's existence to complete his own body. Time was swiftly dwindling, and Metallo had proven to be inadequate. The story reached its conclusion, leaving readers in suspenseful anticipation of what would come next.